Hello guys and girls, welcome to my first ever Whoa Nelly review. Let me go ahead and explain what that is. So for Wimbledon 2017 Federer Cilic, I did a live reaction video for the final and came up with the expression that I'd heard sort of iterations of before, but I just said Whoa Nelly, so that's the origin of it. I'll put the link for that video in the description. So in this case, Whoa Nelly applies to an album I deem praiseworthy or great. So that's the premise. And I'm going to be looking at Brian Eno's Apollo from 1983. It was remastered in 2005 and 2019. The music was recorded for a documentary of the Apollo missions. Eno wanted to avoid the melodrama of 1969's Apollo, missions. I have a cool personal history with this album. In North Berwick earlier this year, there was a strawberry moon. You can look up what that is if you don't know, but it was a very lovely scenic moon view of one night, and I, with my mum and dad, listened to Brian Eno's Apollo. I put it on and we listened to it in full, and we just looked at the view, and it was a really lovely experience. And also on the drive up to North Berwick, we go to Scotland quite a lot. On the drive up to North Berwick that year, we listened to Apollo, my dad and I, in the car on the way up. I was really into the album at the time, and still am, of course. Hence the Whoa Nelly video. So, without any further ado, let's look at some of the tracks, some of the standout tracks. Under Stars, very dark and atmospheric. The Secret Place, instantly sets the scene. My dad said whilst listening to this album that it was like, he had the feeling of, the spaceship. He could sort of picture what Eno was going for. And those two tracks, right off the bat, set the tone for the album. Matter is almost hypnotic. It's very much a standout. The sonics throughout, are very luxurious. Signals is beautiful, and Ending Ascent is an interesting one. It was used in 28 Days Later in Traffic. It's gorgeous, and I think commendable how this sound was achieved. It's a beautiful song. Silver Morning, another standout. I love the steel guitars that Daniel Lanois did. Roger Eno also contributed to some of the tracks on the album as well. Deep Blue Day, brilliant. Used in Trainspotting, the worst toilet in Scotland scene. I just so happened to watch Trainspotting this morning, and I think that scene was brilliant. Very recognisable song. Weightless, a very country and western vibe. The astronauts in '69 apparently had one cassette each they could take on the mission, and they almost all chose a country and western tape to listen to. So Eno said when he was making the tracks, that factored into the music he was making. Stars is a lovely closing track, Semisonic reference. Okay, so music and lyrics. It's an instrumental album, no lyrics to dissect. I think Eno's luxurious sound could serve as a blueprint for anyone making music with his ambient textures. The whole album has an ambient feel. I've actually sampled the Brian Eno song, Dead Finks Don't Talk, on a track of mine called DDB. I'll put the link for my track on SoundCloud, DDB, in the description. Feel free to listen to that. A very interesting Brian Eno quote about the album. He said, I'm paraphrasing here, but he said something to the effect of, if you create music that doesn't tell people how to feel about it, really in a really over-the-top way, very much paraphrasing here, that they can have quite creative imaginations. And I think the album is very re-listenable. It's a classic, it's a masterpiece, it's beautiful, it's awesome, it's an incredible album. Therefore, I'd give this album a Whoa Nelly! So there you go, first one. So with that, thank you for watching, guys and girls. I'll put links in the description, as always, for my Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud for my music. Letterboxd reviews, and Spotify playlists. That's all for this video. With that, once again, I will say, take it easy.